this video is that this video is going to be quite long, as there are a lot of things that need to be covered if we talk about active learning. I have tried my best to include all of it in this video, so stay tuned till the end of this video if you really want to reap benefits from it. This video is mainly divided into 5 parts. The timestamp and sequence for this video is as follows. First, what is active recall and why actually active recall is not working for you. Second, how to convert passive learning into active learning. Third, the procedure involved to convert active learning into passive learning, the K-LQAT technique. Fourth, the problem involved with this active learning method. And fifth, what should we do in order for active learning to work for us. So now let's get into the video. So first of all, let's talk about why is active recall not working for you. In my high school, since I had to read only one course book per subject, so that's why I was able to barely cover the entire book and score good grades. But as soon as I entered the college, I had loads of books to study for one subject only, and that kept me into thinking. So I started to search for efficient study techniques so that I can study more in less time. And I have been studying efficient study techniques for quite some years, and the place that kept me holding and confused for the longest time was the active recall. Active recall is actually so much overhyped in the realm of studying techniques to learn better. If you are not aware about what actually is active learning, then welcome to the world of studying or learning techniques. Active recall is actually recalling information from our long-term memory so that we can retain information in a better manner. What actually happens is that 99.9% of us forget about the fact that we need to recall the learned information from our long-term memory. And if you want to be that 0.1% students who can recall better and perform best in all of their exams, then first of all you need to do is to save information in your long-term memory. Active recall is actually very much needed, but it is the step that should come after we have learned the information very well. The fact is that we start to depend so much on the active recall that we forget, or you can say that we start to give very little importance to the process of learning any new information. And because of this, even though we are doing everything needed for active recall, we still end up using all of our time studying and doing re-revisions in the name of active recall. In my earlier video, how to efficiently learn any topic fast, I have already talked about the problem of re-revision and why we should learn efficiently so that we can save more time as less revisions are required and enjoy other important things in our life. The link will be given in the description box. For me, at least, ever since I have started to implement active learning, I am able to score best grades, saving time and using the saved time for other important things in my life, like working on my business, and I am also able to spend more time with my family and myself. I know you must be finding it to be very unrealistic, as doing only one task excellently requires so much of our time and energy. Then how could someone perform more than 2 tasks and is still efficient and better than other colleagues? My answer to this is that I actually spend some time to learn the information better in the first place. So the rest of time left for me is spent on other hobbies or tasks, as very little revision or active recall is needed. Now we have got the solution. So the question arises now is that how to convert passive learning into active learning in order to save up our time. So first of all, let's get to know what passive learning actually is. All the learning processes which does not actively engage the student's brain is actually passive learning. When a teacher teaches you, or when you are reading a book and simply highlighting the important parts, all of these are passive learning. Passive learning is simply studying, and studying does not mean that we are also learning the information. Studying is simply work. For example, suppose that you are trying to learn swimming, but you only get to know about different types of techniques involved by your instructor or by your books or television without actually practicing it. Then there is no point of learning to swim. Same way, we need to actually learn while studying to make it effective and efficient. In active learning, what we do is to learn information so that it gets saved in our long-term memory from our short-term memory. The procedure involved to convert active learning into passive learning is as follows. I have named it as K-LQAT technique. It mainly consists of 5 steps, that is K for collecting keywords, L for leverage topics, Q for asking questions, especially why questions, A for active note taking, and T for teaching someone. So, to actively learn a topic, the first thing that you should do is to skim through the content or your book and collect the important keywords involved. If you are a complete beginner, you can take the help of previous year questions. I have already talked about it in detail about how to do this process in my earlier video of how to decode our syllabus. I will not discuss it here in this video, otherwise this video will become too long for us to even watch. So I would recommend you to watch my earlier video first. The link will be given in the description box. Now, the second step that comes after this is to choose a portion of your syllabus that gives the most leverage. Under this, we will get to about how to choose the most leverage topic and advantage of learning through leverage hierarchy, and also learning other less leverage topics. Leverage simply means to choose a topic that gives the highest worth of its content that could help us to understand other portions of the syllabus better. In simple terms, suppose for example you have 4 oranges. So you need to choose an orange that gives the maximum amount of juice. This is actually a kind of a smart study. Choosing to study based on leverage hierarchy benefits us in 2 ways. The first benefit is that this helps us in creating a framework so that it can help us to understand other topics of the subject better. And it also helps us in being independent of the rote learning of which we have all been victims at some point of time. Suppose you have a digestive system and a tissue topic to learn. So to choose the topic that gives the most leverage, I would say try going for the digestive system topic first, as it will give you a conceptual knowledge base that will help you to understand the tissue topic better. Since the organs in the digestive system that perform a specific kind of function will have the similar properties in the cells or tissues of that portion. Suppose in the stomach there is the secretion of juice for digestion, then the cells and tissues of that portion will contain glands that will secrete those juices. In my opinion, you should not study the other way round, as getting to know first about the tissues will push you into rote learning and you will need to re-revise and learn the same content again and again. The second advantage of leveraging the topic is that if you have less time remaining till your exam date, then it will get you maximum ready for your upcoming exams. If you had studied through the least efficient learning techniques that actually dependent completely on active learning, then you will not be able to remember the learnt information till your exam hall. Even going through the previous year questions cannot get you to score much better, as even with questions you are actually rote learning the information. So if by earlier less efficient study techniques you were going to score 60%, then now by leveraging the topics you will be able to score 80% if not 90% or above if you had studied in time. Now you need to learn the other less leveraged topics. Like from the earlier example, now go through the tissue chapter after the digestive system so that you become 100% ready for your exams. There will be a lot of interconnections going on and the sequence in which the book is organized will be disturbed. Just ignore the sequence of the book as the test will be conducted based on your knowledge and not based on how this book is organized chapter wise. The third step that you should do is to ask why questions rather than what and where questions about why those keywords are important. Like from the earlier example where we collected the keywords, search each keywords and find its importance. For example, iris is required because it regulates our pupil size so that the amount of light entering the eyes can be controlled, and it also gives color to our eyes. That's why different eye colors exist. And this also triggers our mind to think that there must be different kind of pigments in the cells of iris. In the same way, find the answer of why for other keywords. This process will trigger our brain to know about those keywords genuinely. And now, since our mind finds purpose in it, we will be able to remember them for a long time as that information is stored in our long-term memory now. The fourth step is to active note-taking of the learned information. Let's get to know how to take active notes. To take active notes, we need to non-linearize our note-taking method. Try not to take linear notes and make your own mind maps and add diagrams as per your need. Also try adding examples in each case as doing this helps us to understand the concept in a better manner. This is actually a big area to cover, so I will try to make a proper video only focused on this note-taking method later on. Now let's come to the fifth and last step, that is to teach someone. Now try teaching the topic you have studied so that even a layman can understand the concept. I will try to talk about it in detail in some other video, otherwise this video will become too long. The problem with this active learning is that first, it is very time consuming, and second, it actually strains our mind. Many learners actually shy away from this method as this step takes up a lot of time, especially in the beginner stage. So the constructive warning from my side is that this whole process will be very time consuming at first. But remember that it will save you more than 50% of your time later, which you would have used up simply revising the same content again and again. So just stick to this process until you have achieved your given target. The second problem with the active learning is it actually strains our mind. This technique actually involves cognitive process, so it strains our mind and makes us uncomfortable and tired. And in order to learn better, we need to get out of our comfort zone. But our mind does not want to step out of our comfort zone. And we end up thinking that this technique just does not suit me and I am not made for this. So at last, we end up in a never-ending cycle of just relearning the same content again and again. So, what should we do in order for active learning to work for us? First, give this technique at least the basic amount of time required. This method is very efficient, but then it will not work for people who are very impatient and are not ready to even give that least amount of time required for this study technique to even work. Please give this technique at least the basic amount of time required so that it can show you its benefits. The second thing that you should try is to try to get out of your comfort zone. Practice is the key. Try getting out of your comfort zone little by little so that your mind could be able to take loads of all the learned information, as the learning process is meant to be difficult. Remember, as said by Louis Almore, a good beginning makes a good ending. So that's it for this video. I hope that this video was helpful for you. See you in the next one. Till then, keep thriving.